Welcome to the Den, the Dark Entertainment Network. I'm the Gothic Rose, and this is the dark tale of the day. Yes, dear fiends of the Den, the Dark Entertainment Network is a channel where the news meets conspiracy theories. It makes babies in my brain and it comes out my mouth. We explore the darkest stories from the deepest corners of Hollywood and the world. If you like this sort of entertainment, be sure to like, follow, and hit that bell because I am not going to stop. Welcome back, dear fiends of the Den. We are continuing the haunted history of Hollywood, and I have been talking about silent films and the way they were created, vaudeville, and so many other forms of entertainment. And I do want to go over so many of the silent films and their artistry, but I need to get into the talkies. So let's talk the 1927 film The Jazz Singer and the Scandal of the Silenced Star. I've spoken so much about silent films and how many silent film stars had the issue with transitioning from silent film acting, which was very expressive with emotional facial expressions and hand gestures and body movements and a lot of physicality, to the talkies where they really didn't have verbal acting skills. There were a few, like Douglas Fairbanks and Mary Pickford, among others, who did transition easily into the talkies. But in 1927, with The Jazz Singer, there is so much controversy surrounding this film. So Anny Ondra in 1927 is celebrated as the first feature-length talkie, and she had a very it has all of this behind-the-scenes drama, and now it British is overlooked. Audiences found it very jarring. So when Hitchcock wanted to Anny cast her in Blackmail in 1929, that is when starred in Alfred Hitchcock's Blackmail standoff camera, which was in 1929, and that mouthed Britain's on screen. It was very interesting scandal comes in. This is Anny like very similar to the plot of Singing in the Rain, Eastern European but accent. Real. And it didn't match her character's voice in the jazz stardom in the sound Hitchcock era was like, no, I am not going to recast. After that, so he Anny took another actress, made another English Joan language film, and her she voice would stand off camera literally was erased from the record, while Ondra mouthed really them on like screen. So I find a very bizarre workaround, and it exposed Joan like Barry the growing pains of the best remembered era, for where many silent role in Blackmail, were but it was an uncredited role because she dubbed and then the voice it raised of Anny questions Ondra about authenticity. So this was the first British talkie, and by the way, erasure of foreign talent. Anny Ondra's accent was homogenized unsuitable for English-speaking audiences. That is really interesting. That is why, as I'm looking this up, Hitchcock wanted to use her for her on-screen unfit for sound. Literally stole and then her voice. It raised questions about authenticity. This was one of the dubbing first ethics, like voice double erasure of foreign in talent history. It's in really interesting the way they just managed to figure this out and so keep that is really interesting that they wanted to keep. Anny Ondra was not the only Eastern European actor to have their voice dubbed. She was, of course, the first, but another more modern case of voice dubbing is Arnold Schwarzenegger in his first film, Hercules in New York, in 1970. So Schwarzenegger was 22 years old and had just arrived in Hollywood from Austria, but his thick Austrian accent was considered too difficult for American audiences to understand, so all of his lines were dubbed by an uncredited voice actor in the original theatrical release. So this dubbing, though, gave his character a generic, flat American voice, which was at odds with his imposing physique and charisma. Now, there are some DVD versions, like Trimark DVD, that include an original English dialogue track that features Arnold's real voice, giving fans a chance to hear his early delivery in all its raw, accented glory. So, like Anny Ondra, Schwarzenegger's voice was once considered a liability, but he actually managed to turn that accent into a trademark. He became the governor. You know the story. And he was a case, maybe it's more because he was male and not female, that, said, what sets me apart makes me special, makes me unforgettable. And he's had some great movies. My least favorite of his, though, is The Last Action Hero. But this is a case now that's coming from 1927, 28, 29, where the talkies were coming in, and many of these foreign actors and actresses were being pushed out of Hollywood because their voices were not right for American audiences. Some actors and actresses were American, and their voices just couldn't carry on film the right way. They just were not the right type of actor. So between 1927 dubbing a foreign voice and 1970 dubbing a foreign voice, it just goes to show you that Hollywood can and will create any illusion they like. So let me know what you guys are thinking about this haunted history of Hollywood, because I am having, like I said, so much fun looking into everything, and we're finally getting into the talkies. I will get back into a lot of the silent films, but I think more in short form videos. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode in the Den. If you have any stories you'd like to share or would like to be a guest in the Den, please email me at welcometothedenpodcast@gmail.com. Must be 21 and over. And if you like dark, creepy stories as much as I do here in the Den, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And as always, thank you for joining me here at the Dark Entertainment Network.